Value in absence is a concept that may seem counterintuitive in a world that often equates presence with importance, but it is, in fact, a powerful tool for developing and nurturing relationships. When we talk about value, we typically think about what we can offer directly to others, our time, our attention, our resources. But sometimes the most impactful gift we can give is not our immediate presence, but our absence. This might sound strange, but stepping back allows others to truly recognize the significance of what we bring to their lives. Only when something or someone is no longer immediately accessible do people begin to realize the true depth and impact of that presence. By embracing the wisdom of being absent at the right moments, we enable people to see and appreciate our worth with fresh perspective and renewed gratitude. Think of it like a beautiful piece of music. Each note and sound has its own unique quality, but what makes music enchanting isn't just the sound itself, it's the silence between the notes. Without moments of silence, music would be nothing but noise with no rhythm or melody to it. Similarly, our relationships are enhanced by moments of distance and space, where the essence of who we are can be fully appreciated. When we're constantly available, we may unintentionally saturate people's awareness of us. Like a piece of art that becomes wallpaper when seen every day, our presence can lose its impact if we're always there, always accessible. Allowing others to miss us is not about withholding affection or playing games. It's about respecting ourselves and our relationships enough to provide a healthy balance between closeness and separation. In fact, this balance mirrors the natural rhythm of life. Just as day and night alternate to support the growth of plants, humans also thrive in cycles of connection and disconnection. These periods of absence can encourage the people around us to reflect on our role in their lives and recognize the value of what we bring. Without this contrast, it's easy to take things for granted. When we step away for a while, others have the opportunity to reflect, and in that reflection, true appreciation can emerge. In relationships, there is often a fear that stepping back might lead to losing our place in someone's life. We worry that if we're not always present, others may forget about us or replace us. But genuine relationships aren't built on constant availability. They are built on a foundation of mutual respect and understanding. When people truly value and respect you, your absence doesn't diminish your worth to them, it reinforces it. By showing confidence in stepping back, you also demonstrate that your value isn't tied solely to being present. You communicate that you believe in the strength of the connection and that you are not defined by constant reassurance or validation. This kind of confidence can deepen relationships rather than weakening them. Absence also allows us to grow as individuals. Constantly giving and being available can drain us over time. When we step back, we create time and space to invest in our personal growth, interests, and passions. By nurturing ourselves, we can return to our relationships with renewed energy and vitality, offering more of ourselves in a genuine, impactful way. When we are constantly giving of ourselves without pausing to replenish, our presence may eventually feel less genuine, as we may be operating from a place of obligation rather than joy. Taking time to be absent allows us to show up in our relationships more authentically and wholeheartedly. Furthermore, letting others experience our absence creates an opportunity for them to grow as well. When we step back, we allow people to develop their own independence and strengths. By not always being available to solve problems or lend a hand, we encourage others to rely on their abilities, building resilience and confidence in themselves. In a way, our absence can be an empowering gift to others, giving them the freedom to step into their own power and potential. When we always solve things for people, we may unintentionally inhibit their growth, but a little distance can allow them to become stronger and more self-assured. The value in absence also extends to professional life and friendships. Leaders who step back at the right times allow others to rise to the occasion, showcasing their capabilities. Friends who maintain a respectful distance create a sense of freshness and excitement when they reunite. It's not about cutting ties, it's about fostering genuine appreciation and preventing the relationship from growing stagnant. In the workplace, for instance, when leaders avoid micromanaging and instead trust their team members by giving them space, they often see higher morale and productivity. Team members feel respected and valued because they are given the freedom to contribute without constant oversight. When you embrace the value of absence, you're not only showing respect for others, but also honoring yourself. It's a reminder that your presence is not something to be expected or taken for granted, but something precious and unique. The art of allowing others to miss you is ultimately an art of self-worth. It reinforces that your value isn't defined by how often you're there, but by the quality of what you bring. And that, my friends, is a powerful gift you can give to others and yourself. Intentional space in relationships is the practice of consciously creating moments of separation to foster growth, reflection, and appreciation. It's the purposeful act of stepping back to allow others and ourselves the freedom to breathe, think, and understand. While many of us instinctively prioritize closeness, intentional space isn't about distancing for the sake of it. Rather, it's about creating a thoughtful rhythm of connection and separation. Like a dance, to allow each person to recognize the value of the other and the relationship as a whole. In a world where people are increasingly connected and constantly accessible, creating intentional space can feel unfamiliar or even uncomfortable. We may worry that by stepping back, we risk losing closeness or that our value might be overlooked. However, intentional space is a mature approach to connection. It doesn't mean abandonment or indifference, but rather respect for the individuality of both people. By not always being present, we create a gentle reminder that relationships flourish when each person brings their whole, independent self to the table. It's about cultivating presence with purpose so that when we do connect, it is with freshness and genuine appreciation. Intentional space also allows us the time and freedom to work on our growth, which in turn enriches our relationships. When we take time apart, we can explore personal interests, learn new things, or simply reflect on our own experiences and values. This personal growth is vital. It ensures that when we return to the relationship, we bring new energy, fresh perspectives, and a deeper understanding of ourselves. This personal enrichment naturally elevates our connections with others. The most fulfilling relationships are those in which both people feel free to continue evolving as individuals and can bring those changes back to one another. Just as in nature, where plants and animals grow stronger with both sunlight and rest, we too become more vibrant and present when we're allowed time for reflection and growth. Another key aspect of intentional space is that it encourages clarity and appreciation. By not always being immediately available, we give others a chance to reflect on who we are and what we contribute to their lives. When we're always there, our presence can easily become routine, even unnoticed. But when we allow space, it's as if we give others a moment to step back and view us from a distance, appreciating us anew. It's an opportunity for them to see the qualities we bring, our kindness, wisdom, humor, or support that might go unappreciated when constantly in the background. Absence creates a contrast that makes these qualities stand out, reminding others of our value in a more meaningful way. Intentional space isn't only beneficial in personal relationships, it's also powerful in professional and social settings. Leaders, for instance, can practice intentional space by trusting their teams with autonomy and stepping back from micromanagement. This trust fosters independence and confidence, allowing team members to thrive and contribute more fully. Similarly, in friendships, intentionally creating some space can help keep the bond fresh, with each reunion bringing renewed interest and excitement. When we aren't constantly available, we allow others the chance to miss us, to reflect on the value we add, and to experience our presence more vividly when we do reconnect. Furthermore, creating intentional space helps develop emotional resilience and independence. For others, it's an opportunity to build confidence and self-reliance. When we're not always there to provide answers or offer support, we give people the chance to find their own solutions, to stand on their own, and to feel the pride of achieving without assistance. By intentionally creating space, we show respect for their abilities and help them develop resilience and self-assurance. It's a gift of empowerment, and this empowerment strengthens the bond rather than weakening it. Ultimately, intentional space is about balance. It's a way of showing that relationships are built on respect, trust, and the understanding that we don't need to be constantly together to be deeply connected. By stepping back, we affirm that we value the connection enough to allow it room to breathe and grow. The gift of intentional space is not only for others, but also for ourselves. It allows us to maintain our individuality, to cultivate inner peace, and to be present in relationships in a way that is genuine and wholehearted. Through intentional space, we bring thoughtfulness, self-respect, and depth to our relationships, creating connections that are both resilient and deeply fulfilling. Real strength in relationships often manifests not in our ability to remain constantly involved, but in our courage to step back when necessary. Society frequently associates strength with constant action, presence, or intervention, but true strength sometimes lies in allowing space. This strength involves trust in the relationship itself and in the resilience of those involved. It takes inner courage to recognize that by creating some distance, we're fostering growth rather than weakening bonds. This strength is rooted in the confidence that meaningful connections don't require constant reinforcement to stay intact. To step back and let others miss us requires a mature understanding of what it means to have faith in ourselves and in others. Constant involvement often comes from a place of fear of being forgotten, of being replaced, or of losing relevance. But when we exhibit real strength, we're not held back by these insecurities. Instead, we recognize that our relationships are built on a foundation strong enough to handle moments of absence. In fact, such moments can serve as vital reminders to those we care about of our unique value and role in their lives. Real strength also means honoring others' freedom to grow on their own terms. By stepping back, we're allowing people the space to make their own decisions, learn from their experiences, and develop resilience. When we're constantly involved, we risk overshadowing others, unintentionally stifling their growth or leading them to rely too heavily on our presence. Giving space is a sign of respect for their independence and acknowledgement that they have the ability and strength to thrive without constant guidance or input. This respect and trust are powerful tools for building a healthier, more balanced relationship. This kind of strength can also reveal itself in times of conflict or difficulty. When tension arises, the instinct may be to intervene, to resolve things immediately. But real strength sometimes lies in knowing when to step back and let emotions settle, allowing time for perspective to emerge. The ability to create distance during challenging times enables both sides to reflect on their own views and emotions rather than reacting impulsively. Such a pause can prevent misunderstandings and foster better communication. By stepping back in these moments, we encourage a calm, thoughtful approach rather than one driven by heightened emotions. This, in turn, leads to healthier, more constructive resolutions. Another dimension of real strength is self-discipline. In stepping back, we practice restraint, resisting the impulse to always be present, always be involved, or always respond. This kind of self-discipline is a marker of inner strength because it shows that we're not controlled by our emotions or by others' expectations of us. Instead, we act with intention and awareness, knowing that by holding back at the right times, we're enhancing the quality of our presence. This discipline allows us to be more thoughtful and impactful when we do choose to engage, rather than spreading ourselves thin through constant availability. Real strength, and is also a practice of patience. It involves the willingness to wait and allow things to unfold in their own time. When we're not constantly involved, we let others take their own paths, make their own choices, and discover the lessons they need to learn. This patience requires trust, a belief in the process of growth and in the resilience of the people we care about. Real strength isn't about rushing to fix things, it's about holding steady, giving space, and understanding that time itself can be a powerful tool for growth and understanding. The paradox of real strength is that it often comes through letting go, not holding on. By stepping back, we're not abandoning our relationships, but nurturing them in a different way. We're showing that we have the confidence to allow space and the resilience to withstand moments of separation. In doing so, we're not just fostering healthier relationships, we're also affirming our own worth. We communicate both to others and to ourselves that our presence is meaningful, but not defined by constant availability. We're saying that we believe in the value of what we bring enough to give it room to be recognized and appreciated without always being there. Real strength ultimately transforms relationships by establishing a foundation of mutual respect, trust, and autonomy. When we embody this strength, we're able to create connections that are secure, not based on dependency, but on appreciation and genuine connection. We demonstrate that we're willing to support others by allowing them to grow and develop independently, a gift that can deepen bonds and make our presence even more meaningful when we do come together. This approach builds not just strong relationships, but a strong sense of self, allowing us to bring more authentic, impactful presence into every connection we nurture. Avoiding overfamiliarity is a subtle but essential aspect of nurturing healthy, lasting relationships. When we're constantly available or deeply embedded in someone's daily life, there's a natural tendency for our presence to be taken for granted. Over time, this can lead to a kind of invisibility where what we contribute and who we are become expected, routine, and perhaps even overlooked. Familiarity is beautiful when it brings comfort and trust, but when we allow it to reach a level of overfamiliarity, it risks eroding the sense of appreciation that makes relationships vibrant and meaningful. Relationships thrive on a balance of closeness and independence. When we're always present physically, emotionally, or even virtually, others may start to see us as part of the scenery. Just as a scenic view can lose its impact when seen every day, our unique qualities and contributions can fade into the background of familiarity. This isn't because we're any less valuable, but because constant availability diminishes the element of surprise and freshness that often sparks appreciation. By mindfully creating distance or time apart, we reintroduce a sense of novelty, allowing others to notice the qualities they may have unintentionally taken for granted. It's important to understand that avoiding overfamiliarity isn't about withdrawing affection or creating emotional distance. Instead, it's about cultivating a sense of individuality and recognizing that relationships are more fulfilling when both people feel like whole, independent individuals coming together rather than always intertwining. Healthy connections celebrate two distinct identities rather than merging into one continuous presence. By periodically stepping back, we maintain our own sense of self, which ultimately enriches the relationship. When each person brings their own thoughts, experiences, and passions, there's more to share, more to discuss, and a greater sense of curiosity between them. Overfamiliarity also brings with it the risk of predictability. When we're consistently available or respond in expected ways, relationships can fall into a pattern where spontaneity is lost. The joy and excitement of discovery, which are essential in any relationship, can wane over time if we don't allow space for change and growth. By taking time for ourselves or by creating intentional gaps in our availability, we invite a little unpredictability back into the relationship. This isn't about playing games or withholding affection, but about honoring the natural rhythm of connection. It gives both sides a chance to come together with new insights, reflections, or experiences, making each interaction more dynamic. Avoiding overfamiliarity also supports self-respect and personal boundaries. When we're always available, we may unintentionally communicate that our time and presence are endlessly accessible, which can reduce their perceived value. Setting boundaries around when and how we're available can enhance the respect others feel for us and the appreciation they have for our time. Boundaries are a powerful way of asserting that our time and attention are valuable resources. When others see that we're not always immediately available, they come to understand that our presence is something worth valuing and not something to be assumed. Additionally, maintaining a balance against overfamiliarity encourages others to actively seek our companionship rather than passively expecting it. When we're constantly accessible, people may become accustomed to our presence and lose the motivation to reach out or make the effort to spend quality time together. By establishing intentional space, we prompt others to consciously think about us, to miss us, and to recognize what they appreciate about us. This active engagement is far more meaningful than a passive assumption of our presence, as it requires an acknowledgement of our unique role in their lives. Avoiding overfamiliarity doesn't mean we need to keep secrets or hide who we are. It's about bringing an element of mystery and independence to relationships. It's about nurturing our own lives, pursuing our own goals, and allowing those pursuits to add to the richness we bring to our connections. When we have our own adventures and interests, we bring a fuller self to each encounter. We're no longer simply there, filling a familiar role, but arriving with fresh stories, renewed energy, and a deeper sense of identity. This not only keeps the relationship interesting, but also builds respect and admiration. In essence, avoiding overfamiliarity helps to sustain the magic of a relationship over time. It creates a respectful distance that allows each person to appreciate the other more fully and it prevents the stagnation that often accompanies too much familiarity. By mindfully balancing closeness and distance, we keep relationships dynamic and filled with genuine appreciation. In this way, we foster connections that feel more intentional, and we allow our presence to be a gift that is both valued and sought after, rather than something that blends into the routine. Through this practice, we build relationships that remain resilient, meaningful, and filled with a lasting sense of wonder and respect. Deepening connections in relationships is a journey of moving beyond the surface to build bonds that are genuine, fulfilling, and resilient. While it's easy to settle into routines and casual exchanges, meaningful relationships require intentionality, trust, and a willingness to invest emotionally. True connection goes beyond simple proximity or shared activities. It's about understanding, valuing, and supporting each other in ways that foster growth, trust, and mutual appreciation. To deepen any connection, we must be open to vulnerability, genuinely curious about the other person, and willing to both give and receive. One of the cornerstones of deepening connections is effective communication. Superficial conversations, while pleasant, don't tend to nourish a relationship's roots. Going deeper involves sharing personal experiences, dreams, fears, and values in a way that invites openness from both sides. Sharing in this way allows both people to feel seen and valued for who they are beyond their external roles or day-to-day habits. By actively listening, asking thoughtful questions, and responding with empathy, we demonstrate genuine interest and create a space where each person feels respected and heard. When both people feel safe to share openly, trust builds naturally, leading to a more profound connection. Equally important is the willingness to be vulnerable. Many people view vulnerability as a weakness, but in truth, it's the heart of real connection. Being willing to share our imperfections, admit when we're struggling, or express our needs openly is a gift we offer in relationships. It invites the other person to see us fully, not just the polished or idealized version we may present to the world. Vulnerability breaks down walls and bridges gaps, signaling to the other person that we trust them enough to show our true selves. This act often inspires reciprocity, encouraging them to do the same, which deepens the bond further. Another way to deepen connections is through shared experiences. Creating memories together fosters a sense of closeness that builds upon the relationship's foundation. Shared experiences don't have to be grand adventures. They can be as simple as cooking a meal together, going for a walk, or tackling a small project. The key is that both people are actively participating, working together, and making memories that reinforce their bond. These moments of collaboration, no matter how small, allow for mutual reliance and the sense of we rather than I over time. These shared experiences become cherished memories that strengthen the relationship and create an ongoing narrative of togetherness. Emotional support also plays a vital role in deepening connections. When we're willing to stand by someone in difficult times, it signals that our bond goes beyond convenience or enjoyment. It shows a commitment to be there when things get tough. Offering comfort, encouragement, or just a listening ear demonstrates that we value the other person beyond their happy or positive moments. This type of support fosters a strong foundation of trust and loyalty, making the relationship more resilient and durable. Knowing that we can rely on each other through highs and lows creates a lasting bond that is not easily shaken. Another essential element is maintaining a sense of curiosity and growth within the relationship. Even in long-term relationships, It's easy to assume we know everything about the other person, but people are constantly evolving. Deepening connections means staying curious about each other's inner lives, dreams, and ambitions. Asking meaningful questions, expressing interest in new developments, and supporting each other's growth keeps the relationship dynamic and alive. When both people feel they can continue to grow individually while being supported, they're more likely to stay engaged and connected over time. Growth is a fundamental aspect of fulfillment, and when we nurture growth in each other, we build a connection that remains relevant and meaningful as we evolve. Boundaries are another surprising but crucial component of deepening relationships. Respecting each other's space, time, and individuality shows that we value the person as a unique individual, not just a fixture in our own lives. This respect for boundaries creates a healthy interdependence rather than codependency, which can stifle growth and lead to resentment. Healthy boundaries give each person the freedom to pursue their own interests and passions, ultimately enriching the relationship. When we support each other's autonomy, the relationship becomes a source of joy rather than restriction, deepening the connection rather than draining it. In the end, deepening connections is about creating a balance of closeness and independence, shared experiences and individual growth, vulnerability and mutual respect. These elements build a foundation of trust, empathy, and understanding that allows the relationship to thrive and evolve. A deep connection is not about perfection. It's about the willingness to show up authentically, to support each other's dreams, and to cherish the journey together. When we cultivate these values, we create relationships that are resilient, fulfilling, and deeply enriching, built on a foundation that can withstand the ups and downs of life. Through intentionality, openness, and a commitment to genuine connection, we create bonds that are as rewarding as they are lasting. Presence as a gift, not a given, is a concept that shifts how we view relationships and interactions. In today's fast-paced, constantly connected world, it's easy to fall into the trap of taking each other's presence for granted. We might assume that others will always be available to us, or that our mere proximity is enough to maintain a strong connection. However, truly valuing presence means recognizing it as something precious, something we choose to give, rather than something that is simply expected or guaranteed. This perspective brings depth to relationships and fosters a sense of gratitude and intentionality in every interaction. When we treat our presence as a gift, we acknowledge its value. Every moment we spend with someone is an opportunity to share something meaningful, to create memories, or to show our care and respect. In a world that is often focused on efficiency and task completion, we can forget that genuine connection requires more than just being physically present. It requires emotional engagement, attentiveness, and the willingness to be fully involved in the moment. When we recognize presence as a gift, we approach each interaction with the intention of truly being there mindfully and wholeheartedly. This mindset also encourages us to make our presence count. Instead of merely occupying space, we aim to contribute positively to the other person's experience. Being present means actively listening, offering support when needed, and showing empathy and understanding. It's about being mentally and emotionally available, not just physically close. When we give this kind of presence, it communicates to others that they matter, that their time, their thoughts, and their feelings are important enough to deserve our undivided attention. This level of presence creates a deeper connection, one built on mutual respect and appreciation. Moreover, when we treat presence as a gift, we also realize the importance of quality over quantity. In relationships, we may feel pressured to be constantly available, to be ever present in the lives of those we care about. However, being overly present can sometimes diminish the value of our interactions. If we are always around, it becomes easy for our presence to be taken for granted, losing its specialness. It's not about how much time we spend with others, but about how intentional and meaningful that time is. Choosing when to be fully present and when to step back allows our presence to be seen as more valuable, creating space for the other person to truly appreciate the moments we share. This shift in perspective also allows us to appreciate the presence of others in a more meaningful way. When we see presence as a gift, we can begin to recognize and honor when others choose to spend time with us. We understand that people have busy lives filled with many obligations and distractions, and that their decision to be present with us is an act of care and respect. This recognition fosters gratitude as we realize that their time, like ours, is precious. This gratitude strengthens the bond between people as both parties understand the intentionality behind their interactions. In many ways, treating presence as a gift is a way of cultivating mindfulness in relationships. We stop taking people for granted and start paying attention to how we show up. We become more aware of the energy we bring into a space, more conscious of the words we use, and more intentional about how we interact. This mindfulness helps to eliminate distractions such as checking our phones or letting our minds wander while in conversation. When we truly value the gift of presence, we focus on the person in front of us, tuning into their needs, feelings, and thoughts. This presence makes them feel seen, heard, and valued, something that is incredibly rare in a world where distractions are constant. Moreover, this approach to presence promotes deeper self-awareness. When we treat our presence as a gift, we begin to reflect on what we are offering in our interactions. Are we truly being present, or are we simply going through the motions? This introspection allows us to improve our relationships, not by simply showing up, but by showing up with intention and awareness. We begin to recognize when we are distracted or when we are giving less than our best, and we can make adjustments accordingly. As we cultivate this level of awareness in our own presence, we begin to cultivate more meaningful relationships and create a deeper sense of connection with those around us. In the end, when we view our presence as a gift, we transform how we engage with the world and the people we care about. This shift fosters relationships that are built on mutual respect, understanding, and gratitude. Our presence becomes something cherished, valued, and eagerly anticipated, and our connections become more profound and lasting. We learn to give our time and attention not because it is expected, but because we choose to, and because we understand the importance of truly being there for those we care about. In this way, presence moves beyond a mere obligation and becomes a powerful expression of love, care, and respect, something that can enrich both our lives and the lives of others.